Oh, the tangent game. Oh, yeah, we should do that.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Kurt designed this one. Oh my gosh, this is the first time anybody's played it. Is that true, Kurt?
It is true. I wrote it for these two because they said we go on tangents so often. We need a game that's just about tangents. And I said, I don't know how to do that for you.
And then he was like, guys, I did it for you.
He did it anyways, and that's what makes him so special.
Yeah. I
Oh,
love that you were like,
jeez.
that's not even a thing, guys. And then you were like, so I created it.
So I'll do it.
I made a thing. All right. Sure. Well, I'll read out some rules. This won't take long. The rules are very light.
Do you want to send it to us, or should we just listen?
It's not long. It's so
Okay.
short.
I'll
Let's listen.
So this game, unreleased, but I don't know, I could throw it out there. It's called This Is Just Who We Are, the Tangent RPG, which was the title that these two specified. So, shame on them. It has come to this. After months, years of strife and toil, you have arrived at the end. This is the moment that will determine everything. It would certainly be silly to get distracted now. So the first thing we pick is where we are. There are three options. Deep in the staircase of the abyss, face to face with the wretched goddess of the underworld. If she is struck down, so too is death itself. Two. In the high tower of the Red King, holding the shackled baron before the Vermilion court. Sway them, and his reign will finally end. Or three. At the lost grove of the old way, holding the box that cradles the seed of destiny, all that remains is to open it.
Oh. I like the last one the best. What do you think?
Love it. Let's do it.
All right, great. We are at the lost grove of the old way. We have the seed of destiny in a box, and we just got to open it. But this game isn't about that. Not yet, anyway. So, basically, this is a freeform narration game. When someone starts to describe, like, the scene before them, the character's actions, or the end of the journey, we have to stop them. And then using a small detail from their sentence, we steer the conversation to a memory from your character's life. This could be insights into the journey that led them here, but it could also be about their relationship with another character, their childhood, places they've traveled, mundane moments from their daily lives, or their hopes for the future. Basically, these interruptions like dovetail into the other characters' memories. Stories will drift, other people volunteer other things, and then only when like a good silence passes over the table does someone take a deep breath, nod, and then start describing like the actual narrative at the end of this journey again.
Okay, so...
Does that make sense?
Yes. Are we like the writers of the story? Is that the idea then?
Yeah, basically, instead of like having earned this climax moment, we're just going to retroactively write things that happened before and get to the climax once we're satisfied.
Oh, okay. So like, so everything in the description of the end of the story reminds us about something that happened earlier in the story, but we don't know what happened in the story, so we're writing it that way. We're writing
you're
it
just
through
like
tangents.
Yeah. So if Anthony was like,
That's cool, man.
I
like
see
that.
this, I see the leaf of the tree blossom into a single petal, I'll be like, oh, actually, that reminds me of when I was on my grandparents' farm and I remember holding my first axe and thinking one day, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And is our goal, if there could be a goal to a tangent-driven game, is our goal to like try to tell the story of how we got here before the end comes?
The game says, when you know who you all are and what you stand to lose, finish the moment of dramatic climax. They should deserve the ending they waited for.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah,
once
okay.
we feel like we know who all these characters are and why they're motivated, basically.
Yeah. And one more time, here's some things you could jump into. The journey that led them there, their relationship with other characters, their childhood, places they've traveled, mundane moments, hopes for the future.
Right.
Anything like that. Boom, 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 boom. I will drop a little text of that into our group chat because we've got one. We're very cool.
Yeah, guys, we have a group chat.
We've got a group chat. There you go.
fancy. Even if I was like in a banana suit, I feel like I'd feel pretty fancy. I'd be like, I chose to wear this banana suit. I'm so profesh.
Sure. You've dressed up for the occasion.
I did.
You know, banana suit reminds me of earliest in this journey. I remember we were in the tropics, and I couldn't imagine how we would ever get to the temperate forests that we're in now. And there was just this one perfectly ripe banana on this huge bunch. It was just a little bit ahead of everything, a little bit in the sun. And I remember sinking my teeth into it and thinking, it's never going to be this good again.
But you remember, right? That the next time that happened, and it was even better. It was in the grove of the sun tree, right? It was just before we fought that big boss. That was when we lost the fourth member of our party.
That big boss was really tall, though. That big boss is like, remember when we saw that fish, and that fish was like the biggest fish I thought I'd ever seen?
That was a huge fish.
It was pretty cool.
It was basically
cool.
bigger than that. And I was just like, this fish has so many gills on it. I don't even know, like, if we'll ever see anything bigger than this. And then that big boss came by, and I was like, man, that big boss, that guy's big. He's all about it. And I was...
But, like, the fish was seriously big because we did live in that fish for 3 months, right? And those, honestly, such great moments. Like, I'm just thinking about how you and I, how we talked those like long nights inside the fish when we talked about how it reminded us
I
of home.
agree. And long nights just reminds me of, remember when we were dancing on that really long pole on that boat ride? And we had that whole boat ride, we were just like, all we got is a pole for entertainment. And so we decided to dance on the pole just together. And I was like, man, I've never been so connected to that was, I think, when it started, when I was just like, man, this long pole is making me want to have a deeper connection with this person.
It was wild being on that boat because that was the first real land that I'd stepped on in months, because we were in the fish so long, and it's like you're stepping on meat, you know?
Yeah.
Just like flesh. And then when you're standing on the boat, it was like this wood is just crazy to stand on. It was on the sea, but still so solid. And that stuck with me. I remember telling Carrie, I do miss her.
I miss Carrie so much.
Yeah. Well, we're doing this for her.
We are doing this for her. And I wanted to say that Carrie would have wanted us to do this, right? Like this moment where we bring the seed back to the world. Like, remember what Carrie used to say around the fire every night before we went to sleep? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
remember to
bring
everything.
Yeah. Always remember to bring everything. And what she meant, I think, was like to bring everything to the table, right?
Like,
to leave nothing behind.
Stuff. She meant like when time we had that suitcase and we left it behind. She was like, don't forget stuff. That was the other thing she was always telling us to say, remember? She would always say to us also, don't forget stuff.
Stuff, yeah.
Don't forget. I don't know why. Yeah, of course, obviously.
Well, she would say it because we always kept forgetting every time she said it.
It's true.
Like, I mean, she always said that I was so scatterbrained that I would leave my sword behind. And then there was that one time that I did. That was after the big boss. Remember? I just left it in like the big eye in the middle of the forehead. And
oh my gosh, remember we were in that room with all the eyes and they were all staring at us? And they pierced through into my soul. And they were like, you are the truest gnome I've ever seen. That was pretty crazy. At first, it felt really invasive, but then it kind of felt good because I kind of felt seen, you know?
Does the spirit of the eye still speak to you? Because I know that was happening.
Yeah, sometimes it speaks to me. It whispers about little cookie recipes. So I've been trying to jot those down because I feel like I should really be making these cookies. That is my job.
That makes so much sense because like that's so gnomish, you know? Like I feel like getting seen by a great eye. I don't want to like stereotype you or me, but like that didn't feel like a gnomish moment. But then knowing that there's cookie recipes up there, that makes me feel connected to you and where we come from. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's just like classic what Grandpa would do, you know?
It is. No, I'm not offended by that. It is just classic. What a classic gnome moment. Even being the sort of outlandish gnome that I'm known for being. You know, how many people would walk into a room with all those eyes in it? How many gnomes would do that?
We both had such moments back then.
Oh, so many Nomans. Do you remember our little Noman song? Hey, that's what's happening now. It's a Noman.
Yeah,
Loved that
that's
song.
Good. Those are good songs.
Good song.
It's a good
I would
song.
always
came up
play
with
it on
that?
my little lute, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I am, of course, Vip, the cutest bard, the cutest rat bard in the East.
Cutest
with
rat
my-
bard in the East.
My tiny
And the
little
West, I'd
lute.
say maybe.
I would say
Well,
so too.
I mean, after I won the competition,
How can you
You
deny?
know?
You
at the
became
Crystal
the
Hall.
honorary gnome that you are today.
yeah, and that means a lot to me, guys. I mean, like, I don't speak to my home. I mean, there's no other speaking rats in the whole world, and I didn't belong anywhere. But after the spell was put on me, I guess I've just been looking for a home, for a family this whole time, and finding you three triplets was, I don't know, it was just, this is my family.
Oh my gosh, remember when we saw that family of mushrooms and they wouldn't shut up?
Oh my God,
my
that's
gosh.
true.
Yeah, that family of
feel like
mushrooms
we-
was rough.
That was rough. That was like you want to eat them to shut them up, but then you're eating a talking mushroom, and it kind of feels
And they were
bad,
poisonous, so we were like, I mean, eat them,
What are you gonna
maybe
do?
we die, or maybe we gotta use some magic. And we only have so much magic. Like, I only have 2 teaspoons left. I don't know about you guys, but still.
Yeah. Well, all I have is this box. But you're right about the magic thing. I feel like we've been using it the whole journey, and then now it feels like what's there even like what can you do with 2 teaspoons of magic? It's not enough.
I mean,
I
I
have to
guess...
admit something.
What?
Oh, what's up?
I didn't know how to say it because I just felt like you guys would be mad. But well, this jar, every time you guys use your magic, it fills up this jar. And look, there's just a shit ton of magic inside. And it keeps filling up, and I don't know how to use it, but I've been hoping all this time that somehow I would find the way to channel this magic and be one of the magic gnome casters like you guys.
Wow. I didn't know that. That must feel I remember the first time I touched magic, it was like I couldn't have been more than a tiny gnomeling of just a couple seasons. It was like electricity shooting through your body. You know, I remember Grandpa. I wasn't really our grandpa, obviously. He was
No.
the town elder, but like everyone called him Grandpa. And he just knew, you know, he knew that I had gotten that like electric taste. And that's just so formative, I feel like, for me. Was it like that for you?
Varp, was it like that for you?
For me, I feel like it was a little different. It was a little bit more spiky, I'd say. A little bit more of less of an electricity, more of like a pokey poke, you know? But I will say that I feel like I quite enjoyed it. I think for everybody it's a little different.
I cannot hear pokey poke without thinking about those pine trees that held us hostage.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, that
That
was
was-
terrible.
It's really bad.
I mean,
I do
We
not want
didn't
to talk
even
about
know
all
that-
the places we had needles after that.
oh gosh, it was
No.
everywhere.
No, it
But
was
like,
everywhere.
we didn't know that plants could talk or think or love before that moment, right?
We
Like
didn't know
that was the
plants
first
could wear
time.
hats.
We definitely didn't know that.
No.
That was the first sign. Remember when we got there? and they just all started putting on their little hats, and we thought, oh,
Right.
that's
That was
weird. That's kind of
that
cute.
it seemed so cute for a second, right?
know.
And then
I
it's
thought it was
like,
hilarious.
oh no. I feel like again it was Carrie who was like, this isn't good. Plants don't
Right.
wear hats.
But I was
Don't
like,
do
that's
that.
adorable. Let's go
Fine,
climb
don't
in those
worry about
trees.
it. Yeah,
And
100%.
yeah.
But not
Uh,
not so adorable when the hats are being taken off to reveal all those knives that those pine needle trees were carrying.
There were so many knives. And I always wondered, like, did they whittle them from their own wood? That
Yeah.
seems weird. I'm not going
Right.
to make
Maybe.
a bone knife out of my own arm. That's brutalist.
I mean, we did meet that one person that did make a bone knife out of their own arm, and it was pretty intense. I mean,
Guillaume's a great guy, though. I mean, honestly.
he does
He was so good.
sing the best, do the best karaoke with us, which has always been my favorite part about him.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I learned to play the lute. Like before, I could never join our rattiest friend here. And then, of course, with a little bit of lute duet over the past couple years, it's just been like something special.
I feel like you guys should start a band.
Maybe after all this is over, once we've opened the box. But
I
our
just
band
wish-
would be so great.
Oh man, it would be good. Man,
What do
it
you
would
think
be
we
good.
would play?
Yeah.
Well, I have been working on a song about Carrie, and
Oh.
I'd want to play that with you.
I'd like that. That would mean a lot.
We just like never would have gotten here without her, you know?
You know, but Carrie never really leaves us because when you think about it, the fact that we all still have a piece of her after that awful train accident, since it got permanently stuck on parts of our clothing, she's never really
Yeah.
gonna be gone.
My sixth finger, it's Carrie's finger after they scrambled up all our body parts. And I mean, like, that's pretty special.
Yeah, and I have her left ear.
Yeah.
She'd
I
want
wrote
us
chords
to...
into
I
the song.
absorbed part of her in the womb, so I didn't need any more. Like I
Yeah,
got plenty of
fair.
Carrie already. I used to always tell people like, "Oh, I'm like 1.05 triplets," and that was, I mean, mostly confusing. But
Yeah, people don't like to do math.
remember that one time when we were in the chalkboard mountains?
Oh, when we
I
like
feel
to
like
do math, that's true. There was that one
That
time we
needed
liked
to
it.
happen, you know? Like we
Wow.
all had our
It was very cathartic.
crampons. Yeah. We had like our chalk crampons, and that's the only way you can scale the thing. But if
Oh,
you get
yeah.
like an answer wrong while you're going up, the consequences are wild.
Oh,
And I
Yeah.
can't do math for shit. So I was really glad you two were there to have my back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, you know, we knew growing up that to be mathletes would come in handy someday, and now it has.
Why do you think that you couldn't do math, but your two siblings were like the best math doers in the whole town?
I try not to dwell on it. There's like a lot that I try to ignore sometimes. There's the math thing, obviously. Sore spot for me. Surprise. Everybody knows that. But then there's also, I guess, like just what happens when we open it. You know? Like, I worry that everything will change.
I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like there's so much possibility. What happens on the other side of this?
Well, I have calculated some of the odds.
Oh, let's hear them.
Yeah, let's see. Why not?
Well, we have an 80% chance of it going amazing. And everything working out just as we had hoped. So that's pretty good. Pretty good odds.
Mm-hmm.
However,
good.
there is a 7% chance that things don't go as well and that when we open this, everything explodes.
Right.
And then there is a 13% chance that
The Carrie comes back,
Yeah.
right?
Isn't that what she told us?
She said that, but it's either Carrie is coming back or if my calculations are wrong on that the universe as we know it will end.
Right. Right.
But those calculations, like I said, that's just if they're wrong. Because you're right, it does seem to suggest to me that Carrie's coming back, but I don't know if I should have carried this too. Would have been easier if Carrie was here to do it with me, to be honest.
That's fair.
You each have half
Everything
the
was
math,
always
right?
easier with Carrie. I mean, she was so strong, right? That we would always joke like, "Oh, Carrie carries the whole party," but then like
But
she
I
actually
mean, she
did.
literally carried us.
Like she
Yeah.
had that expression, always
Just
bring everything.
Everything. And so
Yeah.
she'd bring all of us.
She'd bring everything. And when she
Yeah.
wasn't here anymore, we really did have to remember because we didn't have anyone else to make sure there wasn't anything we forgot.
And we also had to remember how to walk.
That's
And that
true.
was the
It was
worst part of
wild
it
how
all.
she had that big
Yeah.
litter that she carried us all on.
Man,
It's
I hated
awesome.
it when we had to learn how to walk. Remember how we were all trying to look at the animals and try the way they walked? Remember when we all tried to walk like snakes?
The snake was the worst. Honestly, the worst by
I
a
don't know why
long
we
shot.
thought that would work. That was ridiculous.
It looked
Yeah.
really good. There was like this wiggling action, and it would just look like really
how they
like
get up
ooh,
like
fluid.
that too? Like I still
I
don't understand.
told you
that.
guys that wasn't going to work. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Alright,
I just
but, like,
copied a rat
True.
and then
You
I
did.
could walk fine. And I told you that you shouldn't also copy animals because you guys are gnomes. But I don't
It
know.
worked
I just,
for you. I don't
yeah,
understand.
but I am a rat. I keep telling you this. I know you've accepted me, but I am a rat.
Right, but we're just saying maybe we could be rats too.
What do you want to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've always wanted you guys to be rats with me.
It's too bad
I
Carrie
guess-
isn't here because she could turn us all into rats.
Oh, that's true.
That
But,
was her
I mean,
specialty.
maybe it'll happen. It's the seed of destiny. We already knew that we couldn't go back, right? We knew that Gramps said that this was a one-way journey.
Yeah. Because there's this long one-way street. And we haven't
The
found
whole
a
way
place
here.
to turn yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't
Well, that was
know
how
if
we
ever
ended up
will.
in that big fish, right? Because like can only go
one way.
forward. Yeah.
And we only could go one way, right out the back, right onto that pirate ship.
Yeah. You know, it makes me think about how like the loneliness of the one-way street, you know, because you don't pass anyone going the other direction. It makes
Yeah.
you feel truly like you're the only one out there. Every once in a while, it was such a special moment. I remember there was this group of people that passed us, just like on a rite, making a pilgrimage. And when they moved past us, well, first of all, we thought maybe we should be going a little faster, but also it was just this special moment because we all sat down and shared a meal together, and that was special. That
It was so
reminded me
special.
of, I guess, why we're doing this, you know?
Yeah. I mean, to be kind to us, we had just learned how to walk. So we were pretty
Yeah.
slow, but
That's
I
true.
feel like that was okay because we were just kind of figuring it out. And they were so nice, you know, they kind of gave us some pointers on walking again. Do you remember the tea?
Yeah.
They
That
just
was
like
special.
fizzled in your mouth and how it brought back like a childhood memory you forgot, just to every person, one that you'd forgotten since it happened.
What was it for you?
I remembered being at the sort of on the basement of the blue wizard's lab, scurrying across the floor, and that was before I had words, before I could talk, before I could sing. I was just a rat, but I remember this feeling of seeing the wizard and having so much awe and fear at the same time. Like I wanted to be her. And yet I knew she could end me with just like a single step. I guess I shouldn't have been so curious because I got chosen. I got chosen for the thing. Now I'm talking rat.
Well,
Right,
we're
but
very glad
maybe-
you are.
Maybe it wasn't even that much of a punishment because I feel like being a talking rat is the coolest. So have you ever thought that maybe it was some sort of weird reward?
Yeah, well, I think I told you guys this before, like the memory charms were cast in the caves, but like it's because I was so curious. It's because I had no fear. I kept coming out from between the floorboards. Like that's why she chose me.
Mm-hmm.
She knew there was enough heart in me that I could survive this transformation. And it doesn't mean that what she did was right, but
What's always been so wild about that to me is that I was chosen for the opposite reason. I remember sitting in the village square and hearing the stories of the seed of destiny and just shaking, knowing that this pivotal moment had to come, knowing that it had to be unfurled, but not understanding how anyone could make that choice, not understanding how anyone could take that last step. I was so afraid. But they said that fear was what we needed. We needed to be able to step up and do it in spite of that fear. I guess we're all different that way.
I think to fear something is to really need it.
Another Carrie quote. I'm so glad you honor her like that.
if we didn't have you and the fear that you have for this thing in that box, I mean, who else would be the seed carrier? This thing can destroy the whole world, and we need somebody who's going to be cautious, somebody who respects it, who understands why it's important, and that's why we need you. The world needs you for this moment.
I think the world needs all of us. Remember that time that Varp saved us from the pirates who saved us from the fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. And wait. Tell us what you told them in that moment, because that was, I mean, it was just brilliant. Oh, God.
I want to hear it again.
All right. Well, I basically was just like, look, these fish don't belong to you because it's eating time. Remember how I always used to go around and say that? That was like the first time I actually said it where I felt like maybe it made sense. It was perfect.
I was so confused every time you said it before that.
It was such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, because I'd wake up in the morning and you'd be like, how'd you sleep? And I'd be like, it's eating time. And you'd be like, okay, well, so are you really hungry?
You want some breakfast.
I was just trying to make it a catchphrase. But it finally worked after so long of trying to make it a thing.
And that bond you created with the fish, you said it's eating time, and like it conjured something in those eyes, and they burst out of the water and just like ate all the pirates whole, just like
it did. And I was like, I do not know if that was coming from me, but I'm just hoping that we actually synced up in our minds, or it got too full, because it definitely stopped before it got to me, so that was pretty useful. I think we linked up psychically. We can all do that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, remember when it came in most handy? I remember when we were in the court of the Blue Wizard, a different Blue Wizard, obviously. Your Blue Wizard, fair and kind. This Blue Wizard, imposter.
Right.
Everyone knows that.
Right.
Yeah.
God, I just remember how that psychic link, like we all knew exactly when to leap into action.
That's
we
right.
cut that chandelier. It fell perfectly on the Blue Wizard. And then we all shouted in unison Carrie's classic quote. Down. Win.
Which was the real name of the Blue Wizard, because this was a fake Blue Wizard, of course.
Yeah,
was
down with Ripu, right? Ripu?
Yep, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We just knew to say it.
Yeah, Ripu was the worst, so it felt pretty right in that moment.
And we were stuck in that castle so long because that one-way trail just wound itself through and up and down.
I know. So many stairs.
Just wished we could turn around, go back just once, but
not allowed.
We made an oath.
I don't want to get a ticket.
Let alone break the oath.
Well, when you break the oath, that amount on that ticket gets tripled, so I really don't want to break the oath.
Right. Well, I've heard it's a different ticket for everyone. Like I remember Gramps told me back in the village, that for some people it would be like a fine, but for some people it was like a ticket down the river Styx, you know, like to your
Whoa.
afterlife.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't want to test it. So here we are,
Better
reaching
not.
where we're at.
Looking at this box.
Look in this box. Are you gonna open it?
I thought you were gonna open it.
That's what we agreed, wasn't it? You would be the
Me?
opener. Yeah.
No, guys, I thought you were joking. I can't do that. I don't want it on my hands. I already had to be the one. I had to be the one that made the call and left Carrie behind for the three of us to get up there.
She would forgive you.
You don't know that. We're never gonna get that from her, you know. Like I'm never gonna hear those words. I don't want a second regret.
But you're
I don't know
also
if my
the
heart can handle it.
person that wants her back the most. And so you have to be the one to open the box. Not to say that
Right.
we don't want her back, but I feel like the stronger the connection, the more powerful that is. And although, you know, she's our sister, she's not... We'll never be connected in the same way that she connected with you when it comes to that soul bond.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have that.
It's so weird. You guys are, were born in the same womb as her and also have psychic abilities, but you never got the connection.
Yeah. But here's the box. It's little clasp the right size for your tiny rat fingers.
Except for the sixth one, which is a gnome figure.
It's true.
Varp, you sure you want me to do this? I remember when you stopped us on the way up here. You said you had something you wanted to tell us.
I wanted to say that wherever we go, we should try to make sure that there's no carpet, because I am so tired of walking on carpet after this journey, because this entire road has been carpeted and I just can't deal
Why
with
did they
it
do that?
anymore.
I don't understand why they did that. It's like a whole thing.
I'm just saying,
Like,
once we get off this road, if we can make sure that there's no carpet anywhere we ever tread, that would be fucking delightful.
When people said, oh, the journey with the box with the seed of destiny in it, that's going to be like a red carpet to your destination. It'll guide your way. I really didn't think they were being,
it was going to be a real red carpet.
literal.
Yeah, it seemed like a metaphor for sure, right?
That'd be so one way. At first, I thought walking on this carpet was delightful. Remember that in the early days when we started walking?
It was great.
Oh, it was so plush and shaggy, and it wasn't like a rainforest like we had to go through with the bananas. It was shaggy, and it didn't feel like squelchy under your feet.
Yeah.
That was the worst part for me. When the carpet was longest and the temperature was wettest.
God, it got so musty. Like, you should not put a shag carpet outside. It's just it's a terrible move.
Yeah, shouldn't do it.
Or the amount of times when we were going up and down those carpeted stairs in the castle. How many times we
God, the
slipped?
static electricity.
Oh, that was the worst.
Charging up. And then anytime we connected with... I mean, it was good when we were, fighting those people in the castle, because then we could use...
Yeah, you'd shock them into submission. I remember I shocked this one guy, and it was just like the pure force of that, like, built-up static electricity, just like... Psst, and he was in a suit of armor, right? So he just fried.
That's
right.
But
that doesn't usually happen. Generally it was just like, ow.
But what if you didn't want to fry him, right? Like, that'd be embarrassing.
Right? Like, what if you're just going to shake somebody's hand and then, it'll, that sucks.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I guess I should do this, huh?
Yeah. I think you should.
Step up to the box. a tiny rat hand on the front and twist my fingers into the keyhole and start to twist the lock until we hear that click. I look back at you guys. Varp. Vale.
Carrie? I think
I never
that's
had
it.
Oh, nice.
I think that's it, yeah.
That is it.
That's perfect.
That was good.
Yeah,
Real
play
monster
testing
thing
it
kinda.
live.